Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Crown and Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to begin by acknowledging that I'm speaking to you from Scarborough Rouge Park, the traditional lands of many Indigenous nations, most recently of the Mississaugas of the Credit. And I will be speaking on in support of Bill C-30, an act to implement certain provisions of the budget tabled in Parliament on April 19, 2021. And before I go deeper into the budget, I do want to reflect on the past few weeks. It's been a real difficult few weeks for many in our country, and it's, I think, safe to say that our hearts ache on a number of different fronts. First and foremost, the learning of the 215 children graves in Kamloops, I think has really opened existing wounds and have shaken us up in a way that things have rarely shaken us. This is a moment in time where all of us, I think, need to come together and to ensure that there is justice, there's accountability, there's reflection, and there's also a real commitment to ensure that all the 94 calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report are implemented. There are sadly going to be other findings along the way, and I think in order for us to have closure, in order for us to truly live up to the past and move forward, we need to support Indigenous-led initiatives that will commemorate, that will remember, and that will ensure that the children are brought home. And my heartfelt condolences to the Kamloops Sequebam people, and I want to just assure them that I, along with our colleagues in the House, will continue to work to support them and others in these efforts. Just last week, Madam Speaker, I sadly attended another memorial, this time in London, Ontario, to pay respects to the Afzal family. I was joined by members from all parties and leaders from across different levels of government, but most importantly, the members of the Muslim community in London. The Afzal family were walking, like most of us have relearned to do over the past 18 months or so, and they were going on an evening walk, and they were sadly mowed down by a terrorist, by someone who espoused so much hate that I don't know if I could fathom the level of hate that this individual had to do this to this family, but more broadly to attack us as Canadians, because when we attack, or when we see an attack on one individual community or family, it really is an attack on all of us. It's an attack on the values that we espoused. But sadly, it didn't stop there, because we know that incidents of Islamophobia have been on the rise exponentially over the past several days. We've seen incidents in Edmonton, as my friend from Edmonton Riverbend just referenced. We've seen daily microaggressions of many friends and colleagues and others that we may work with. So there is a real moment for us to reflect on the level of hate speech, the level of hate propaganda that we see in social media. We know that incidents of anti-Semitism is on the rise. So again, this is a moment for us to reflect and make sure that we do better, and we collectively work together. We don't use race and these differences as wedge issues, but rather issues that we can all come together to fight against as a common good. And I sincerely hope that we have turned the page in our parliament where we can do that. And I hope to work across the aisle with my friends opposite to do that. And on a very personal note, Madam Speaker, I must thank all those of our colleagues who are not going to be running again in the next election. Most importantly, I want to acknowledge and thank my good friend from Mississauga Malton, the former Minister of Innovation, for his extraordinary guidance for me personally and the doors that he opened for me and ensured my success. So I want to pay particular respect and thank him and his extraordinary family, Bram, Kirpa, Nanki, Papa Baines, and Mama Baines, for all that they've done. And I know in his speech, I was fortunate enough to listen. He reflected on the issue of identity, the issue of being Sikh and being able to practice his faith and his and live day to day as a Sikh with enormous and extraordinary challenges. And yet, I think he has overcome so many and has led us in ways that I can't describe. I don't have time to describe here. Madam Speaker, I do want to get to the budget. And then I want to particularly talk about something that's been very important for the people of Scarborough. Scarborough region, used to be its own municipality prior to amalgamation with the broader city of Toronto. We have a population of roughly 630,000 people. We are represented by 6 parliamentarians, and we call them the Scarborough Caucus. And we have set out since 2015 to prioritize one singular ask, which is additional support for transit. The Scarborough region have not had any higher levels of transit built here in a generation. The last project, which is the rapid transit, the LRT, is coming to an end in 2023. It is broken down. It is far past its best before date, and it's fair to say that it's not serving the people of Scarborough. So in 2015, when we got together, and at that time Scarborough Aging Court was represented by Arnold Chan, we all said, look, we need transit. We absolutely need to make sure that we build higher orders of transit. And at that time, the singular project that was in the pipeline with almost 10-year debate behind it was the Scarborough subway extension. It was initially a three-stop subway stop. It became a 4-stop subway. Then it became a 2-stop. And then finally, we are here today, and we were recently able to announce a federal investment of $2.25 billion into a 3-stop line, which will essentially start construction in the next before the end of the year, and we're hopeful that it will be constructed in by 2030. That is the timeline that's been provided. This is a game changer. This is very important, and this is an important investment in the people of Scarborough. All the hardworking people, as you know, Scarborough was one of the most affected populations during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've had so many issues of riders who would be working as essential workers, would go downtown, who were in crammed buses and were simply affected disproportionately to their population. And I believe this is a very important investment. As much as this is important, this is not the end for us. Scarborough as a region will require additional supports in terms of infrastructure. And that's why this budget is so important, as it outlines a mechanism through the permanent public transit funding that will enable places like Scarborough to build, and I'm looking forward to the construction or the supporting the Eglinton East LRT as the next project. So I look forward to the questions and the answers today, Madam Speaker, and I thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak.